So here's another thing from that famous OpenAI harness engineering zero manual code experiment that I think a lot of teams are about to feel like immediately. What happens when you give agents a lot of autonomy? The repo starts to pick up entropy, not in some philosophical way, in a very practical way, because the agent is going to copy whatever patterns you already have. If you have something a little messy in 3 places, it's not going to be messy in 3 places for long. It becomes 6, then 10, and now it's a pattern. Let me make it concrete. Say you have a node repo, and there are 3 slightly different helper functions that do basically the same thing. One lives in /utils, one is embedded inside a service folder, and one is copy-pasted in the test file. A human might look at it and go, okay, not ideal, we'll clean it up later. An agent looks at that and goes, cool, this is how we do it here, and it happily generates 4th version and 5th. Now you're not just scaling feature velocity, you're scaling inconsistency. Does that make sense? And OpenAI ran into this. Early on, humans were basically doing, I think it was like on Fridays, like a cleanup day of some sort, cleaning what they called AI slop. Okay, that doesn't scale. If you need a weekly ritual to make the code readable, you're already lost with how much code agents write. So the interesting part is what they did instead. They stopped treating this like periodic cleanup and started treating it like encode taste once and then enforce it forever. They put golden principles directly in the repo. Opinionated rules, mechanical rules, stuff an agent can follow without guessing. For example, prefer shared utility packages instead of hand-roll helpers everywhere, or rely on typed SDKs so the agent can't just invent data shapes because it says something similar one time. And then they automated enforcement. So imagine you have a background agent task that runs on a cadence, daily, whatever, and it scans for drift, updates some quality grades, and opens very targeted refactor PRs, small PRs like this helper duplicated in 4 places, consolidated. Review it in under a minute, auto-merge it, move on. It's basically garbage collection, but for your architecture. And I like that framing because it's not dramatic, it's realistic. In an agent-driven repo, drift is inevitable. So what do we do then? We make correction inevitable as well. They had this analogy that I think is worth keeping. Technical debt behaves like high interest debt. If you let it pile up, it compounds. If you pay it down in thin increments, it stays manageable. And I would restate it even more simply. You either clean up a little every day or you clean up a lot once it becomes painful. There's no third option. So the big shift is not agents write code. We already know that. The shift is your repo needs a feedback loop that prevents bad patterns from spreading because agents will scale whatever you can tolerate. Something to think about in agentic engineering way. Curious if you're seeing this already in your own repos or if you came up with a structure and process to take care of this problem.